Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govardhana Radha Govardhana Shri Radhe. Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Giri Govardhan Jaya Krishna Balaram Jai Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaurani Tai 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 Jaya Gaurani Tai. Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paripachakacharya Shila Astuta His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद की गंगा देवी की जय यमुना देवी की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय All glories to the simple devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the simple devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the simple devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga All glories to Shri Prabhupada ki jai Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, good morning, welcome everyone. So today we are starting a new chapter. It's Canto 3, the status quo, and chapter 24 entitled The Renunciation. Ladies, Maitreya Vacha, word for word, Maitreya, the great sage, Maitreya, Uvacha said, Nirvedavadini, who was speaking words full of renunciation. Evam, thus, Mano of Swayambhuva Manu, Duhitaram, to the daughter, Muni, the sage Kadama, Dayalu, merciful, Shalinim, who was worthy of praise, Aha, replied, Shukla, by Lord Vishnu, Abhivyaratam, what was said, Smaran, recalling. Translation. Recalling the words of Lord Vishnu, the merciful sage Kadama replied as follows to Swayambhuva Manu's praiseworthy daughter, Devahuti, who was speaking words full of renunciation. Text 2. The sage said, "Do not be disappointed with yourself, O princess. You are actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son." Text 3. You have undergone sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. Please repeat. You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. Prabhupada. In order to spiritually advance or to achieve the mercy of the Lord, one must be self-controlled in the following manner. He must be restrained in sense gratification and must follow the rules and regulations of religious principles. Without austerity and penance, and without sacrificing one's riches, one cannot achieve the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Kadama Muni advised his wife, "You have to factually engage in devotional service with austerity and penance, following the religious principles and giving charity. Then the Supreme Lord will be pleased with you and he will come as your son." Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthar Bhutale Shrimate Pe Krishna Swami. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthar Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitamne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charini Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Sadarine. So I seek the blessings of all the devotees that I can speak something that will be beneficial for all of us, and I'm speaking especially for my own self-purification. The topics here discussed is not anything that I have realized deeply, but it's also qualities that I am aspiring to develop. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport that to actually get the mercy of the Lord, we need to be restrained in our sense gratification. And Kadama Muni is telling his wife Devahuti that actually she is a praiseworthy daughter of a great king who is a devotee of the Lord, and that surely the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead would enter her womb as her son. So in the previous chapter, we were hearing how she was lamenting that she was just engaged in materialistic activities and she wasn't pursuing spiritual life. But actually, that is the mood of pure devotees. They always think themselves very unworthy and very unqualified, but their words themselves are not actually their true nature. So we see many examples in the scriptures of personalities who feel themselves very lowly and unqualified, but they're actually great personalities. And one example is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We hear of his many qualities, that he was a high court judge, so he had a job in the material world, but also at the same time he was translating, writing so many Vaishnava literatures and reading, and he hardly slept. He controlled his diet, he ate very little, and he engaged all his mind, body and senses in the Lord's activities. So it's just like the pujaris, when they go on the altar, they pray to the Lord that please engage me with my mind, body, words, and my intelligence in your service. So that is our aspiration, that we always engage all our activities, our senses, our mind in thinking of the Lord, and our body engaged in service to the Lord. And we see Bhaktivinoda Thakur did that. But we see an example of his words, just like how Devahuti is lamenting her activities, but she was actually serving her husband not for material sense gratification. She was serving him because she understood. Someone of that caliber, what to speak of even the village girls in those times, they were trained on the higher qualities and of spiritual values. So someone of Devahuti's quality, she was a princess, so she definitely should be trained on spiritual topics, and she understood that Kadama Muni is a pure devotee. So even though she's lamenting that she served him for material purposes, but that is not the case. She served him because she understood that he is a pure devotee of the Lord, and also because she does say that you have not given me fearlessness. And that implies that spiritual knowledge and spiritual understanding, even though she's on that platform. So an example of how pure devotees think of themselves unworthy and fallen is in the songbook. There's a song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Gopinath. He sings, Gopinath, mama nivedana shuno, vishayi durjana, sadakamarata, kichunahi mora guna. So he's saying, kichunahi mora guna, I have no good qualities. He says, vishayi durjana, sadakamarata. So he's saying that in the translation, I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess. But actually we hear of his qualities in the book, the seventh Goswami. What a saintly, elevated devotee he is. So we have the 6 Goswamis, but he was actually given the title of the 7th Goswami because he was such a high caliber devotee, but himself, his own mood, and this is not just pretending or saying it, he actually felt this way. So similarly, Devahuti felt this way, that she was pursuing material activities, but actually she was not, because she was trained in the spiritual science. She understood that her husband, Kadama Muni, is a pure devotee, and she herself is a pure devotee of the Lord. I was listening to this class by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. He wrote many of these books on studying Bhakti Shastri, and he is the dean of the college in Govardhana Eco Village. It's called Vidya, but I'm not sure the name of it, but he's the dean of that, and he's written many books on studying the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, Sri Ishopanishad. And he's given commentaries, and he said actually the position of Devahuti is actually she was more elevated than her husband, because she was in the spiritually, she was on the platform of Vatsalya Rasa, so she was in the mood of parental love for the Lord, so she gained the Lord as her son, whereas Kadama Muni was on the platform of Dasya Ras, so servitorship. So we hear that, we heard just now about how Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw himself as very lowly. So we shouldn't, sometimes we hear in scriptures or the songbooks, so we need to be very careful that we don't interpret it and take it on face value, because that is not the case. So we see also the example of great saintly persons. So that is Bhaktivinoda Thakur in that picture. So we also have Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, who also felt themselves very lowly and unqualified. But they were actually great saints, and they have written the science of, they have studied the scriptures and written the scientific way of how we can actually apply this knowledge in giving us the nectar of instruction for us with our consciousness now in Kali Yuga, how we can apply this knowledge, control our senses, control our tongue, belly and genitals, and they gave us the nectar of devotion, the higher realms of bhakti. But yet themselves, they were in the mood of thinking themselves very lowly. Similarly, we see the qualities of Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who was the spiritual master. So that is Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and he was the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So a couple of days ago in a comment, Ram Prasad Prabhu was giving that example that even Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who was such a high caliber saintly devotee, he saw himself as very lowly, and he said, when I leave my body, drag my body through the streets, through the township. But actually, the disciples and the followers and the people in the village, they took it on face value and they were ready to do that. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who's such a high caliber devotee, immediately understood this is the mood of a great, pure saintly person where they think themselves lowly, but we shouldn't think them or their body to be material. So the body of a pure devotee is actually spiritual, just like how the example Prabhupada gives that an iron rod placed in fire, it actually is considered like fire. It's not considered as an iron rod because it's coming in contact with fire. So similarly, a pure devotee is coming in contact with Krishna, so that pure devotee's body is spiritual. So then that is when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did the proper ceremony of taking care of the spiritual body of his spiritual master, Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And we also see in Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport of chapter 13, text 12, the qualities of a devotee. So it's chapter 8 to 12, it talks about all these Vaishnava qualities that one needs to develop, and there's actually 26 qualities. So in this context of these verses, I'll just speak on the quality of humility. Prabhupada writes it's the quality in Sanskrit, it's called amanitvam, humility. So humility, Prabhupada writes in the purport, means that one should not be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor or dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion, and consequently sometimes it is found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some religious group which is not actually following religious principles, and then wants to advertise himself as a spiritual mentor, as actual spiritual advancement, actual advancement in spiritual science. And this is how we test it. Prabhupada says we need to test how far we are progressing by, and in the purport it gives further qualities like how we are tolerant, how we are simple, qualities of simplicity, cleanliness, steadiness. So if we want to do further reading, it's in chapter 13, Bhagavad Gita, text 12, and the purport Prabhupada elaborates how we can personally test our progress in spiritual life. And another example in relation to this purport on humility that Prabhupada gave is the example in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Srivas Thakur. So Srivas Thakur is one of the 5 primary Panchatattva personalities, and in his previous life he was Narad Muni. And in his house in Srivas Angan, they used to have the nightly Sankirtan, and it was a private affair, so the very elevated and saintly pure devotees would attend that. And so the people sometimes who were envious of him because they were not allowed to enter because of the nature of the confidentiality of those nightly Sankirtans, they actually placed the items for Kali Puja. So people who worship Durga or Kali, they're actually meat eaters. So they placed the Kali Puja worship items outside his house. And now we'll see the test of a pure devotee and it wasn't artificial. He actually came out of his house and he started advertising, look everyone, I am a worshipper of Kali. Look at these items outside my house. But actually the highly attuned spiritual personalities, they understood immediately that this is the work of envious persons, and they immediately got the cleaners to clean those items away from Srivas Thakur's angan, his house. So those who are actually understanding spiritual topics in the association of devotees, they understand what to take on face value and understand the deep humility and the mood of pure devotees. So there's this nice article which I found on ISKCON Desire Tree. It was posted on March 17, 2015, and it was written by Mahatma Prabhu, and it's called Spiritual Unworthiness by Mahatma Das. So the way he articulated it is, I can't say it in my own words, he said it perfectly, so I'll just quote what he has written. So he talks about material unworthiness is that we're thinking ourselves lowly, and actually spiritual unworthiness is very different. It's like iron and gold. But he's talking about here the spiritual unworthiness. He says, feelings of unworthiness when manifest as humility are a positive spiritual asset. Humility is one of the qualifications of a transcendentally situated person. So we see also in Bhagavad Gita, the key verse, one of the primary key verses, 434. We have the microphone. Julian, would you like to say the verse 434? Or the gist of it, either Sanskrit or in English?
Tatviti pranipatena paripasena sevaya upadekshantite jnanam jnani tatvat dashina.
Yes, thank you very much. So the translation, the gist of it?
Just approach the spiritual master and serve him and inquire knowledge from him. The spiritual master will impart knowledge unto you.
Thank you very much. Yes. So as Julian mentioned in 434, so when we humbly serve the spiritual master and we inquire from him submissively, and in that purport of 1312, we're talking about humility, submissiveness, tolerance. So when the spiritual master, because he's highly attuned, he can sense the true depth of the humility. It's not pretend, and the submissiveness. And because that he is pleased spiritually, then he imparts that knowledge because he has seen the truth himself. So he has similarly served his spiritual master and received that knowledge. And through humility, he is sharing that knowledge. Just like Srila Prabhupada, out of his great humility, he had come to the West and spread this knowledge. So true humility is something that is very, very fine, and it's not material humility. One can pretend materially to try to please someone just to get some material gain. But a highly attuned spiritualist, they can sense the humility in the person. Just like we hear also in Nectar of Devotion, it says there that it talks about the liberation and spiritual liberation, so impersonal liberation, and there are people also, karma khandis, who are after material wealth. So Krishna, just because of someone doing material activities, karmic activities, Krishna may give wealth just to keep them quiet, and also karmic, their karmic past activities, they are rewarded. But actually when we want spiritual knowledge, it's not something cheap. Just like there are athletes, and the person who rows they take part in the Olympics. They rise early in the morning, freezing temperatures. They take their canoe, and then they go and they practicing. And so in spiritual life, actually, it's even more. It's not that it's all like airy-fairy and like hippie, it's all love, hold hands, circle, kumbaya, singing. It's actually a science, spiritual science. It's not something cheap. Even material, we see that someone goes to university and they sacrifice going out on the weekend when they have an assignment coming up. So spiritual science is like that. We have to work for it. If you want a diamond, it's not something cheap. We have to pay the price for it. So similarly in spiritual practice, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they explain in their teachings given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we need to, first of all, the number one quality we need to do in Nectar of Instruction. What is the first instruction of someone who wants to gain spiritual knowledge? Is to control, to control one's senses. So I'll continue on. The article was long, but I'll speak just on the points that are related to today's translation and purport of Prabhupada. He said, Mahatma Prabhu, a heart overloaded with pride and egotism can never submissively inquire about the knowledge of transcendence. Still, even if we believe we are truly unworthy, this makes us even more qualified to receive His mercy. So he gives an analogy. He said, just as being poor qualifies one to receive welfare from the government, so that humility, this spiritual unworthiness, that disqualification is the very cause of being worthy of the Lord's mercy. So I was thinking of another example that just like if a child cries, a child falls down, and the parents will know that sometimes it's not, they're not badly hurt, but they're just shocked, and then they start whining when they are hurt, and then the parent is engaged, or they're doing something like cooking on the stove and they can't leave the stove, so they will let the child cry for a bit. But if the child, the mother will know by the type of crying that the child does that this is an urgent cry, it's like near death situation. So similarly, when we are truly humble, when we truly cry out the holy names of the Lord, then the mother, Krishna will come. So we need to develop the true humility, the true qualities of tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, steadiness, and then Krishna will hear our prayers and come to us. So further, Mahatma Prabhu's article, he says, there are proper feelings of unworthiness appropriate to our level of advancement. These feelings are both natural and helpful in bhakti. The feelings of unworthiness they are manifest in two prominent ways for us right now. We are practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, or regulated devotional service. So we are following the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex and gambling, and we're chanting the 16 rounds minimum, or we are building up to 16 rounds, those who are coming to Krishna consciousness. So that regulated practice, daily practice. So he is giving that feeling of unworthiness. So we all coming from different backgrounds, we have different levels, so we can't artificially pretend. So according to our level, we develop these qualities, and Mahatma Prabhu says there's 2 prominent ways. There's appreciation. So when we feel unworthy, we actually appreciate others' qualities, and we feel grateful that we are allowed to be engaged in devotional service, even though we are so unworthy and unqualified, and we are coming from different gradations of unworthiness by our previous activities, either in this lifetime or even in previous lifetimes. And the other quality is humility. When we feel helpless, then we actually depend on Krishna for guidance. It's when someone is genuinely feeling helpless, they don't show off and say, I can do this on my own. They actually depend on someone for help. So actually he says these 2 qualities, that feeling of unworthiness, the healthy spiritual feeling, it actually helps us. It's a stepping stone in our spiritual practice. So he talks about how humility and helplessness, Mahatma Prabhu says, dependence on Krishna, we depend on him for guidance and intelligence and the ability to do our service well. or sometimes even to do our service at all, to get up early in the morning. We're grateful to Krishna that thank you for allowing me and giving me the determination to get up in the morning and come for Mangal Aarti. So everything we do, Krishna is the ability in man. I was listening to a class by my spiritual master yesterday morning. He's in Finland now. He was talking about Bir Krishna Goswami. He was saying that he was quoting this one famous radio broadcaster. He was saying that intelligence is on loan from God. So he coined that famous term. I don't remember the name of that person. And then I looked up this idiom which says borrowed plumes. And that it means it's an idiom which says that where we claiming credit for something we didn't do, or pretending to have qualities or accomplishments that are not our own, trying to appear superior by falsely associating yourself with achievements of others. So in Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, it talks about the 4 human defects, and one of them is this cheating propensity. So we all have this cheating propensity to varying degrees. Even though we are aspiring devotees, we're coming to Krishna consciousness. That's why we always need to be introspective and always see, why am I doing what I'm doing? What is my purpose? And these unwelcome feelings that come in our heart, then we need to look within, step back from that situation. Why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling uncomfortable? There's something irks me. What is it in that external situation in me that I need to work on? And I'm saying this because I also have this tendency where I fail the test, and then afterwards I think, I failed the test and I was feeling this, and I reacted instead of being introspective and reflecting that there's something in me that I need to work on. Actually, also I was talking with Madhubani the other day that everything is a mirror for us to actually see what we need to work on ourselves. Even though externally someone may be the agent of our karma, maybe it's not the proper way also that it was dealt with, but on our part we need to be introspective and see that what do I need to work on. So this humility is such a key element, a key quality that we need to develop. So there's 26 qualities of a devotee, and if anyone wants to read further, it's in many sections of Prabhupada's books he writes it, but one of them, the reference is in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12 purport. And in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5-29, Narad Muni talks about the quality of obedience. In material life, obedience, being humble, following someone obediently, it's actually something that we shy away from because we don't want to be subservient to someone, because maybe in this lifetime or even in previous lifetimes we were abused. The people who are meant to be leaders were actually taking our humility or subservience and obedience and abusing it. But actually it's not that we throw the baby out with the bath water. There is a science, these 26 qualities of a devotee. When we follow the actual spiritual person, like Srila Prabhupada and his dear followers who are actually following, then we actually are becoming more and more purified, just like an onion. It has many layers. So we have so many layers, we have this gross body and so many subtle coverings from this lifetime and many previous lifetimes. So by this practice of spiritual practice and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and eating spiritual food that is sanctified and offered to the Lord, our heart is becoming purified and all those layers are being taken away. And another point that I wanted to talk about in Prabhupada's verse 1-3 that he mentioned is that how Kadama Muni, he encouraged Devahuti, and he was saying that actually she is the daughter of a great saintly king, Swayambhuva Manu. And actually when Krishna empowers these great devotees, Swayambhuva Manu, he was the emperor of the whole world, and his daughter also, she was a qualified princess who was trained, and also we'll see in future verses that she would get Kapila Dev, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as her son. So it's not just ordinary persons who are empowered by the Lord, they are actually great saintly persons, even though they think themselves unworthy. But even if one genuinely is unworthy or feels unworthy, the quality of other devotees is that they encourage them. Just like Kadama Muni, he's encouraging Devahuti. I was listening to a class by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu yesterday, and that class, it's coming up in his recent feed on his YouTube channel, and the title of the class is Finer Nuances of Vaishnava Character. And in that class, he's talking about the quality of Ramananda Rai. So Ramananda Rai, he's a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself. And he was working in the government of King Prataparudra. So Lord Chaitanya, he is in the renounced order of life. So a sannyasi, he doesn't associate with worldly persons. So a king is considered worldly because he's wealthy and he has so much opulence. But actually King Prataparudra, even though he was the king, he was very saintly and very elevated, pure devotee of the Lord. But Lord Chaitanya refused to see him. And Ramananda Rai, when he was in the association of Lord Chaitanya, he used this Vaishnava schema. When we were in Govardhana, one of the years, we've been going to Govardhana with joining Vaisheshika Prabhu's readings during Kartik. So this year, Krishna willing, will be our 4th year that we go. And one of the readings, he was reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita in Adi Leela 10:134 purport. It says there that Prabhupada mentions, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to see Maharaj Prataparudra because he was a king, Ramananda Rai, by a Vaishnava schema, arranged a meeting between the Lord and the king. So that is the quality of other devotees. When another devotee is struggling or feels themselves unworthy or unqualified, they actually encourage them. So the devotees around King Prataparudra, they were encouraging him. They were saying, no, one day the Lord will see you. Keep hope, keep going. And then Ramananda Rai, they made arrangements for the Lord to actually see King Prataparudra. So we'll find out later on that he dressed in ordinary clothes, and then he was serving Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya internally was very pleased with him, and also very pleased with the devotees who were lifting up this King Prataparudra to come and serve him. So the Lord does not agree to see materially minded persons. So even King Prataparudra, he was a king, but he wasn't materially minded. He was a great pure devotee of the Lord. Another example of externally materially opulent was Ambarish Maharaj, but we see how great he was that even Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, his Sudarshan Chakra came to save him from the curse of Durvasa Muni. So that is the quality of a pure devotee. One is that they are very humble and think themselves genuinely unworthy. And also another quality of the devotee is that they encourage other devotees and uplift them in Krishna consciousness. So from this, what I've taken is to be cautious that we don't take it on face value where devotees think themselves unworthy, but also we are living in this world ourselves. We know our own heart and our own mind that actually we are actually very unqualified. And we have this persona that we present to the outside world, but actually we know that there is so much gunk in our own heart that we need to work on. And we need to have at least one confidential devotee in our life that we reveal our heart and mind in confidence, and we keep working, fine-tuning these finer nuances of Vaishnava qualities that we need to develop, and having true humility, and then also helping others who are struggling in Krishna consciousness and encouraging each other. So I'll end there, and I'll just quickly read this translation that is very important for all of us in text 3. You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. So if anyone has any questions, comments, any realizations they would like to share.
Thank you for the class, Vaishnavi. It's funny, like, you see in the modern kind of spiritual things, it's all about telling yourself that you're worthy, whereas this is kind of like complete opposite. But I can see that the reason why is because ultimately in bhakti we're relying on the mercy of Krishna to make advancement and the devotees. So you have to take that position, otherwise how do you get that mercy anyway? So that kind of made sense to me to some degree. Because modern kind of pseudo-spirituality is totally different. It's about like trying to puff yourself up and make
So of course, that's a good point. There's these two terms used in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's Anusar and Anukar. So we follow in the footsteps, and the other one is imitation. So we have to be very careful that according to where we are at in Krishna consciousness, that we're very genuine in our own practice. And one example that I remember in relation to what you were saying is some years ago, my spiritual master, he was in America and he was giving a class on Dharma the bull, and how his legs were being cut by Kali. And Romapad Swami was there, and he asked the question that how do we, in our life, practice it? So my spiritual master gave the example, just like if there's a car accident, because Dharma the bull was telling Parikshit Maharaj, who can say, he didn't want to blame the perpetrator. But in our life, he was saying, just say there's an accident, and then someone comes, police come, and then you go to the court and the judge, and you tell the judge, oh, who can say it was my karma? No, we need to act externally we do our part, but internally we have that humility that it was some karmic reaction or something. But externally we need to do like Vaisheshika Prabhu uses the term, our due diligence. But internally we have that quality of humility. But externally we need to act and tell the judge, yes, this person ran over me, he was in the wrong, it was a red light and whatever. So internally we have these qualities, but externally we see even many great leaders, Prabhupada followers. Prabhupada was very staunch and strong, and someone asked him, you're sitting on the Vyasasana, and there's one person in the audience says, so you think you are first class? And Prabhupada says, no, I'm fifth class. So the humility, internally he has that humility, but he's acting as a servant of the Lord. So externally he's acting as a mentor, a genuine spiritual mentor here. So thank you for bringing that up.
Hare Krishna Maharaji, thank you for the class. I remember one of the first house programs I went to was at Rupa Raghunath's house, but it was with your Guru Maharaj, and he said how Krishna consciousness should be fun. So can you touch on that a bit? Because initially you said, it's not all about love and dancing and singing, but also if Krishna consciousness is meant to be fun, then how do them things kind of correlate? Okay.
So there's Krishna consciousness is fun, as you said, my spiritual master P. Krishna Goswami said, and you were questioning how it is, because I was saying that it's not about just holding hands and all spiritual life. So It's like the example of someone who goes to the office and works. There's two people. So one is a spiritualist and one is a materialist. So they're both earning money, but they're using it for different purposes. So we're having fun, but our purpose is Krishna conscious fun. Whereas materially, someone doesn't want to follow the regulative principles. They think, oh, hold hands, and we'll still drink, we'll have illicit sex and all that, but we'll still dance and chant. But definitely there's some benefit because the chanting purifies the heart. So in saying that, it's not that we don't apply that knowledge. So Krishna consciousness is fun, but we know in our consciousness that we are enjoying in relation to Krishna. So enjoying separately from Krishna, there's no benefit. But enjoying in relation with Krishna, and we see devotees go out and go Harinam, then they go enjoy in the association with other devotees, go to the beach, have nice prasadam, go on picnics. So we have fun in connection, in relation to Krishna. So there's always a material and a spiritual. One is minus Krishna, one is plus Krishna. So everything, we just need to add Krishna. Thank you very much. So, yes, Julian?
Thank you for the wonderful class. I have one comment and one question, if that's okay. One comment is that regarding to humility and sense control, I believe it was Bhakti Lasyan Sagara Swami who said, when you deal with the material nature, like three modes, when it comes, actually it's opportunity. Actually, to conquer the three modes is kind of subtle desire to become God, because ultimately we can't conquer these three modes when you're in this material realm. So when the three modes, when you are affected by the three modes, it's kind of an opportunity for us to be humble. So I think it applies to sense control as well. When you try to control our senses, it's not to be honored by it, but to be humble and to ultimately to connect to God. And my question was, when you talk about the Srivas Thakur's pastime, I believe it was Gopalachapa, correct me if it was wrong. When he tried to dishonor Srivas by arranging the Kali Puja item in front of his house. But isn't it that Srivas Thakur was kind of breaking the truthfulness by saying that, pretending that although it was his intention was to be humble, but he was kind of pretending that I'm actually worship Kali. But I think it's also affects the reputation of people who goes to his kirtan, because it's kind of influencing people by hosting the kirtan for Lord Chaitanya. So it's not really good for others' benefit as well. So what's your thoughts on that?
So just the first point, your comment. So thank you so much for mentioning that it's controlling our senses and self-control. It's actually an opportunity, because the three modes come, and we see that we are always constantly praying, and we understand that we are able to do it. It's only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So always maintaining that humility. And my understanding on Srivas Thakur is the same as like Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayer, that he think himself unworthy. So I don't know exactly, like we don't know what's in anyone's mind exactly, but I take it as the mood of pure devotees where they genuinely feel they're unworthy, something in them, that they have this deep humility. And also it wouldn't affect the people who came to the devotees who came to the kirtan, because they knew of a high caliber devotee. Vaisheshika Prabhu says that devotees are as sensitive as an eyeball. So even a little speck of dust comes on the eyeball, immediately they can sense something. So a pure devotee is so highly attuned to the spiritual nuances, they can sense immediately that even though externally, like Gorakishore Das Babaji, he was sitting outside a prostitute's house so that all these materialists wouldn't harass him. But someone of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's caliber, a highly attuned spiritualist, knows immediately, even though externally he's going to sit at a prostitute's house. So you could even say Gorakishore Das Babaji is in a way being untruthful, but actually it's not. It just wants to keep away nonsense so he can focus on his bhajan and his focus on Krishna. So in a way, it's trying to also, my understanding, keeping away people who are, materialists. But maybe if Krishna Kirtan Prabhu could comment on something on that, because he's very learned and he's always hearing, while he does dialysis, he's always hearing Krishna Katha and always reading.
I can't, like you said, I can't say what's inside Srivatsa's mind. But obviously he wasn't too fazed by the whole thing, that's all. He wasn't going to buy into it. He was quite, if you read the pastime, it was, and that devotee ended up getting a massive reaction anyhow. So, like you've already answered the question, that those in the know knew his position, so there was nothing to prove.
Yeah.
So I think he just made fun of the whole occasion.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, just on that point, I was thinking I often fail the test, but the understanding from that example that Krishna will take care of it in his time, not that we wish unwell to the person who did that or trying to defame someone or defame us or give false accusations, but just take it as, okay, I need to be more humble and accept that Krishna has his plans. But I did hear also one of the previous classes where that, or maybe Urmila Mataji was saying that if we know that it's going to affect others' Krishna consciousness, then we try to rectify, just like Krishna, when he was accused of stealing the Shamantaka jewel, he did. But then we also see many other examples in scriptures where devotees just let it be. So there's always two angles. If it's going to affect others and their Krishna consciousness, then they will act. The pure devotee will act to rectify the situation, correct it. But if, as you said, the ones who are in the know, the spiritually highly transcendentalists, they won't be fazed by it. And also Krishna will rectify the situation. Whoever's disturbing the pure devotees will be rectified by Krishna.
Yeah, the other example was discussed some time ago with Srila Rupa Goswami when that Pandit and he signed a piece of paper. Remember that one?
Yeah.
You asked a question at the time, with Mahaprabhu, he actually took on the other Pandit, right? Digvijay.
Yes.
So I think, do you remember asking that question?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a difference. Mahaprabhu was in the Vijay Leela mode as a Pandit. So that was the mood of that pastime, actually, to debate and take on challenges. Srila Rupa Goswami was absorbed in deep spiritual contemplation. He wasn't too worried about his reputation at that time.
Yeah.
It was a different mood.
Yeah, that's a very important one. Lord Chaitanya is correcting the Digvijay Pandit for a purpose to his followers. They have faith in Krishna consciousness, and then the example of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, when the Digvijay Pandit came, then just signing off that, oh yes, you are the winner, but then Jiva Goswami. So there's always other devotees who will act, even if that devotee will not act. So Krishna will act through his other devotees. Yeah, there's different cases, different actions. So thank you for bringing that point. So we'll end there. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.